Well, here we're going to begin with our um, preliminary instructional videos for Google SketchUp. We are going to keep it at SketchUp 8. We're not going to move beyond that for now. Okay, the first thing you do when you open it up, it's probably going to ask you to choose a template. I just like to use the simple default template feet and inches, so we're going to pick that up. Click on that to begin, and then start using SketchUp. All right. So SketchUp's going to load up, and here it is. Okay. So the first thing we see is you may or may not have these toolbars open, but first thing we see here is Susan. Susan is given the put there for you to have some perspective. All right. You can highlight Susan, do a right click and delete, okay, or erase. But I prefer to keep her there so we can have some perspective on things. We have the axes, okay, X, Y, and Z axes, which are perpendicular, and you have the planes that contain the axes, okay. One of the first things you might want to take a look at is the tool up here, which is called the Orbit tool. Click it on, and you can look at this from different perspectives. And that's why Susan's good to have there, because it gives you the perspective, okay? Now, okay, if you look at it this way, you're looking at one plane. And you only effectively see two axes, okay? We want to look at it from the ground level. We can look at it this way, or we can look at it from the underside, like this, okay? So you'll definitely appreciate the Orbit tool to move it around, and I think you'll appreciate it more once we start looking at some figures. So let's go get started with constructing some figures. The thing about Sketchpad is the best thing it's used for is for creating three-dimensional solids. And at this point right now, you're going to create your very first three-dimensional solid. You'll notice here our assortment of tools. This is called a rectangular tool, and when you click on it and drag it down, you can create a rectangle. Okay, notice that down here in this box in the lower right hand corner, it's called the dimension box. As I sweep it out, it defines the dimensions of that rectangle. Now let's say that the rectangle is as you can see there, it's 7 feet 4 and 1/16 of an inch. I want a square, so I want a square that's 7 feet on a side. So what I'm going to do is, while that box is still active, I'm going to go to my keypad and I'm just going to say 7 feet. I'm using that little feet symbol next to the enter key, comma, by 7 feet. I'm going to enter, and you see that shrunk down a little bit, but now I have myself a square that is 7 feet on side. Okay, now I want to see the 3 dimensions. Of course, like I said, our Orbit tool, spin it around. Here's the bottom of our box. There's Susan standing on our box. There's the edge of our box. Okay, see it? Okay, there we're looking at from a downward view. Okay, the easiest thing in the world here is now this tool called the push-pull tool. Okay, now the push-pull tool, I have it, looks like a stamp. I'm going to come down, I'm going to stamp on my rectangle, I'm going to pull, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm sweeping out a solid, sweeping out a box. I want a cube, so I want 7 by 7 by 7. So I'm just going to, as you can see in my dimension, my dimension box is now marked distance. I want to pull that 7 feet. I keyed that in. I enter it. Of course, now Susan is covered up in the box, okay? And you're saying you don't even see a box. No, you don't, unless you orbit around, and now you can see the box, okay? Which is a perfect cube, okay? And as you can see, we now have, okay, one of our first rectangular solids formed here. All right, we can do things like, for reference now, okay, we will refer to the faces and the bases. Of course, in a cube, it really doesn't matter, but let's for the sake of argument, choose a select base, the top and the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go to my pointer tool. I'm going to click on the top face here, and then I'm going to go to my draw tools. I'm sorry, it's a material tools that I want. It's just, which is in the window tools, materials. Okay, which will offer you an assortment of things. I'm just going to choose red. I'm going to paint that red, and I want to come and I want to orbit it so I can see the bottom of this, and again go and paint that by selecting this and then going and picking the red and painting that red. Okay, and of course we can paint the other sides that we can do as well at another time. The reason why I did that was to illustrate for you the difference. Sorry, let's pull that up. The difference between what we call, okay, the base and the face. So the bases here are the two red sides. The other four sides, yes, there are other four sides, are of course my my faces. So we have the faces and the bases, and we will of course not only limit ourselves to squares. Okay, now that's our first geometric solid, okay, that we've constructed. All right, simple tools that we used. Okay, and actually I think that might serve as enough for this first video. Okay, so there you have it.